Please help support the channel by visiting our Amazon store for items like the G7X Creator Kit, perfect for YouTube vlogging. Affiliate link below. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel, and you know, I really dislike bad parents. As a new parent myself, my job is to make sure that my daughter is fed, changed, kept warm, loved, and kept alive, essentially. And you figure that should be what every parent wants to do. Then I come across a story like this that's just so messed up because this mom is accused of subjecting her son to 323 hospital visits and 13 surgeries. I understand there's a fear, right, when you have children. I understand that now more than I ever did before. The last 8 days have been a huge eye-opening experience for me since my daughter was born. Or 10 days, sorry. See, already screwed up. Already a bad parent. But essentially, you know, you question everything. Are they eating okay? Are they breathing okay? Are their hands are a little bit cold? Is there a circulation problem? Everything runs through your mind. But after a while, you realize that kids are always going to be growing. You have to be vigilant, but not everything is life-threatening. And there's some parents out there that just do not get it. And I really do think that's what's going on here, but it doesn't stop this person from still being horrible in how they treat their child when it comes to any kind of illness. And I've seen what happens from this kind of hypochondriac behavior, this type of psychosomatic behavior, how it has an impact on the child when they become an adult. So it says here that a Texas mother is in jail after hospital staff sounded an alarm over a boy who had been seen 323 times at various medical centers and undergone 13 major surgeries in his 8 years of life. 8 years old and 13 major surgeries? This kid had better be like super cancerous or something, or just really, really, really messed up in order to warrant that. But 323 times? I'm just going to make the joke. She's probably on Obamacare. Anyway, Kaylene Bowen, who has allegedly previously claimed her son was dying of a genetic disease, fighting cancer, and suffering from several other ailments over his lifetime, was arrested on a warrant of accusing her of injury to a child with serious bodily injury. Bowen, 34, remains in Dallas County Jail, while the boy, whose name is Christopher, and his two half-siblings have been placed in foster care. The boy's father, Ryan Crawford, says he's tried alerting authorities to Bowen's actions previously, but was shut down by courts who sided with her. Now, that also alludes to a much larger problem. If you happen to be a person who's never looked into men's rights activists, or advocates, and you've always heard that they are just women-hating alt-right douchebags, no. This is actually a key argument for the MRAs, which is that how family courts completely crap on fathers, how they completely side with the moms. It takes almost an act of God to get Father's Day in court, so to speak. Now, it does happen, and some places are more progressive than others, but the overall general rule here is if you are a dad, oh, you don't mean crap in the eyes of the law. And that is exactly what we see here. Is the father was trying to alert the authorities of all of this behavior and was shut down in the courts. Welfare of the child being the most important thing indeed, right? It says here, it was always the same story. Christopher is dying, Crawford told the Star-Telegram. The father doesn't need to be around because he doesn't know how to take care of him. Every time I went to court, they made me feel like I was the worst human ever. And you know what? I've read multiple stories about that. You come across stories of single fathers who are trying to be with their kids and they're blocked by the courts because of the mom. And people, and that, again, that stigma that comes across being to a single father. And, you know, many of them have taken their own lives as a result. It's sad. It's terrible that fathers are treated the way that they're treated. And, you know, maybe now he'll get his day. Maybe. According to Child Protective Services petition, Christopher was seen 323 times at hospitals and pediatric centers in Dallas and Houston between 2009 and 2016. At various points, he was placed on oxygen full-time, used a wheelchair, and was outfitted with a feeding tube that led to life-threatening blood infections. Court documents revealed that Bowen placed Christopher in hospice care and tried to have him placed on a lung transplant list. Jeez. At no point in time did anyone stop and go, our file here, you know, because they bring out the chart. And keep in mind that these various medical centers and these various hospitals, they communicate, with the system. Like, they transfer charts from one place to another. So they have the complete medical history of the child. I mean, like, they do that. And so how come it took so long for anything to happen? I mean, that would have been a red flag by time number 10 of going to see a medical physician. But like I said, there are people out there that are so hypochondriac when it comes to this kind of stuff that they just get worked up in their own mind. My former boss's daughter was like this. We worked in a concession stand. If any bit of jalapeno juice or anything spicy got on her hand, she would go to the ER because, for one, it was free. She was under her father's health insurance and he was retired military. So she would go for free and just get like, oh, I have a rash. I'm breaking out all the time. She wasn't. Everything got in her head and everything made her sick and everything made her ill. And that is a learned behavior because that is how she was raised. Every little thing is going to be a problem. Every little thing is going to make you sick. It's parents who hide their children away from the world and keep them contained and locked up like they're a porcelain doll to never be touched. Only hurts them later on in life. Now, the father here says that it was horrible for my son or any kid because obviously my son is not the only one who has had to go through this type of torture. The system has to be exposed to all the weaknesses that are in the system because the kids don't deserve that. No, they don't deserve that. And it's good that now, after all of this time, 13 major surgeries, 323 visits to the hospital, that she's been arrested for this. That the welfare of the child is now finally being looked at from the perspective of, there might have been something wrong here. Now, hospital staff sounded the alarm with CPS after discovering that Christopher did not have cancer or any of the alleged symptoms Bowen had listed. She had claimed Christopher had suffered a 7-minute seizure, but an ECG showed no activity. Staff reached out to another hospital that had treated Christopher and found there were similar suspicions about Bowen. A complaint was filed, marking the second since 2015. So it's good. Okay, so it is good that there are people out there that were paying attention. And their hands are tied, to be fair. To be fair to the medical staff out there, their hands are tied to an extent. But they also... Their warnings, their words carry more weight. So there was someone here clearly not doing their job, clearly not paying attention. Now, Dr. Susan Dekill wrote, I'm very concerned that the mother was moved from exaggerating symptoms to inducing symptoms. If the mother was given Chris something that would induce a seizure, this is potentially fatal. At this point, I'm very concerned for his welfare. And maybe that was just a straw that broke the camel's back. Maybe leading up to it, it wasn't as much, she was imagining these symptoms, but not going as far as to manifest them. While not formally diagnosed, Bowen's actions are similar to those who suffer from Munchausen syndrome by proxy. The condition when a person attempts to produce psychological or physical symptoms in another person, usually someone who is dependent on them. Several factors, including who is describing the patient's symptoms, can make it difficult for doctors to spot the disorder. Well, that would make sense, because if she was going to multiple different clinics and then also espousing multiple different symptoms that she herself was manufacturing and then placing on her son, it might be difficult for doctors to catch on, especially if she was making the rounds to a lot of places. So this is a tough one to talk about because you want to be, for one, you're mad at the mom. Absolutely. Two, you're kind of mad at medical professionals because you're like, why didn't you catch on to this? But at the same time, they are human. And this type of behavior, I don't know how you'd want to classify it as sociopathic or psychopathic, narcissistic, however you want to view it. This type of behavior is definitely the type that is horrible. It's hard to catch because they don't want to get caught themselves, so they systematically move around to different places. Now, over the years, Bowen was soliciting money from supporters through U-Caring and other fundraising efforts. One page claimed the boy had been diagnosed with I'm going to totally screw up saying that, ardiovenous malformation at age 2 and had raised more than $8,000. Crawford is currently seeking to obtain custody of Christopher, who has since been taking off the feeding tube and is eating regularly. And I hope this dude gets his kid back, man. And I hope this lady goes to jail. Because he's 8 years old, so 6 years ago, she was going on, U-Caring and raising money. Because keep in mind that there are a lot of people out there that run these kind of campaigns and and fake it. Now, I myself was running the Mundane Cat on GoFundMe in order to help my cat get $6,000 worth of surgery. And people came through, and that was awesome. And I had people come to me and accuse me of pocketing the money, accuse me of stealing it. So I understand, like, there's a stigma attached to that as well. But my cat's fine. He got what he needed. This woman kept going, kept going, kept going, kept going, kept going. And now she's paying the price. And I, for one, call me a heartless bastard if you want, but I am so glad that her kids are no longer in her care and they can maybe, just maybe, actually be children, which is what they desperately deserve. Hey guys, that wraps up this video. If you'd like to leave a comment, please do so below. I love to read your guys' input. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button. It really does help me in the YouTube algorithm. If you want to support the channel, there's the Amazon affiliate store, there's PayPal, there's Patreon, there's Bitcoin. And if you're bored and you want something else to watch, check out 3 Buck Theater up here. My name is Matt Jarbo. I will talk to you guys later. Have yourself a wonderful day. Peace out.